Okay, so this is just going to be a quick one on doing it with 11s instead of 15s. And now I wish I had just said to do the 30. Sorry if that anyone got frustrated. Hopefully you'll read the notes before you do it. I found a gold sort of brassy 28. It's not the one I was looking for, but it will get the job done. Because for this center, I'm going to go a little bit bright, just so you can see it easier and just for fun. So I'm going to use this opaque AB bead that I got at Bobby Bead, $7.68, where they have very good wholesale prices. But I sound like a commercial. But I've actually, I don't even know if I've used this bead that much. It's such an odd bead. It's a little brighter than my normal stuff, but I kind of like it because it has a lot of oranges and pinks in there. So that's going to be the very center part. And then one of my most commonly used beads, which is the Toho Peach Cobbler Ceylon Matte 148F. That is, I use that for so many centers, I can't even tell you. Like, for example, here's a painted violet that's just handy. And there they are right in the center. Little twist tops right there. Yeah, I mean, I use that bead a lot. I love it for centers because it's bright, but it's like the finish on it is so cool. I just like the way it looks. Not just for violets. So I'm trying to think. Yeah, I guess I'll go with that combo. So that's what I'm going to do. So here's how this is going to play out. So we're going to have less to do because they're going to get bulkier. So this is what the prototype looked like, and it's still got a lot of fluff factor to it, so that's good. So we'll see how this plays out. I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay, you go over there. Holy cow, I'm just not set up. So I'm gonna get, maybe about, I don't know. Oh, it already has a kink in it. I don't know the genesis of this wire, where it came from. I don't know the brand. I don't know what's up with it. So I don't know if I'm going to regret the fact that it's going to how it's going to behave, the fact that I'm using it. So I'm going to give myself maybe about 6 feet on it and see if I can maybe even get it all done in one. We'll see. But if not, no big deal. Okay. Now you should definitely be able to use 28s when you're with 28 gauge when you're dealing with 11. So that should not be an issue. Okay. So with this one, I just made this little pattern last night, so I'm hoping I can read my own writing. So we're going to start with 5/16, so a little bit over. And again, let's just do a count. We're going to do the same thing where we kind of bring it up. And we'll go 12 beads, 15 beads, 18 beads. So we're going to end with 18 beads as opposed to 21 because obviously. So 5/16, let's see what this is about. These are some chunky beads though, so I'm a little nervous. And they're good though. They're pretty, what brand is this? Looks like a Toho, maybe. They're pretty consistent with being about 1/16 of an inch, which means 5/16. So I'm looking at 5 beads. I'm going to change that, actually. I'm going to do 6 beads on that. So that's going to be 6/16, which is what? 3/8. So we're kind of going to be moving that up a bit. That just looked a little too short. So I'm going to do 6 beads on that. And again, let's push you forward. I'm going to do, for this one, I'm not doing 8, we're doing 6. And this is going to be our little center bit that is going to be, oh, it's already so much nicer. Fits in there. Get that lock on that first one. Ooh, I feel slightly traumatized by my experience with that last. Isn't that crazy how, sometimes the wire just can be so painful. And I'm just not the pro yet, bungling my way through it like the rest of us. So, I still take it very personally when the wire doesn't do it. No, that's not true. But the thing is, I should, you got to learn to kind of reset when that kind of thing happens and figure it out. But I kind of forge forward, So, let's see. I'm going to get these first. It's like one time, as if I did a bunch of times. One summer I decided I was going to drive to Alaska from Los Angeles alone in my little pickup truck. Some sort of voyage, right? And and let me tell you, it's a voyage for one thing. That being said, I did not turn around even when things got weird and I shouldn't have gone down certain ways. Because you know what happened? This is what happened. I'll tell you real fast. I've been, I had all my AAA maps ready to roll, and that's great. And I had everything set up all the way up through Washington State, basically to the very top. Then I think I got like a Canada, like the big Canada map or something. But I was like, oh, I really need to, get better maps, a little more fine-tuned for the Canada part, for the British Columbia part. And lo and behold, I just put 5 on there. So I bought some at a gas station, right? And the AAA ones from the California AAA, for the ones that we were, hang on, let me get this together. We're driving, they used dotted lines for scenic routes. Or some kind of like different sort of, I can't remember what quite it was, but it was like something like that. Why do I keep having, did I miss it again? This is the problem with having way too many on there. There we go. Way too much yardage on this thing. I'm getting, like, I want it to all be done. Anyway, so I buy the maps at the gas station. One of the gas stations right over the border. And that's great. I'm driving. I didn't realize the next day, I go, oh, this is a scenic route. This is going to be awesome. Well, here's the problem. I didn't read the legend, and I just assumed it had the same sort of symbols on it. Turned out that the map brand that I had bought, the dashed lines or whatever it was like a certain pattern, meant unpaved. Unpaved. It was unpaved. But yet I kept driving. It was scenic. I'll give it that. It was also scenic. But it was unpaved for a long, long time. And I should have turned around. Like with that wire. That's what it's making me think of. I should have turned it around. See, look how much faster it is now that you can go through these. It's like, after working with 15s though, doesn't it look like when you're dealing with those 11s, they look huge, right? Looks like you're dealing with like 6s or something. Now, I cut way too much wire because I was being greedy again and thinking like, I don't need 2 segments. I'm going to do it all in one. But that actually ends up taking almost more time because you have to pull through so much wire in the beginning, right? So now I have 4 going here. So anyway, the moral of the story was you got to know when to reassess and possibly restart. Though it was scenic and very interesting. And British Columbia unpaved. I mean, that's some serious unpaved. You're up in the mountains. Plus I was running out of gas. That was an interesting evening. Ended up having to sleep in the truck. Because the one hotel in the area where I was ending up for like miles around had been totally rented out to a paving crew for the summer. Because that's the only time they could pave, right, with the crazy weather there. So there was not one single empty room. So I parked that little truck in the driveway or in the parking lot of the actual hotel because it seemed a little safer under a light there. Woke up the next morning with a horse with a cowbell staring at me through the front window of the car, which was a little bit of a shocking way to wake up. And who puts a cowbell on a horse? But, it was scenic. I'll give it that. So, I should have turned back on that wire. So here we go. We got our look at how much wire I put down here. This is crazy land. Don't do that. I am committed to giving you like teaching moments this evening. I'm like literally like a cautionary tale come to life right now. Things not to do when making French beaded flowers. Got hooked on my chair. Okay, so. Okay, we got it. There we go. So I got my 6 here, and that's all I need of that center bit. That's just going to be a little contrast to make it, to kind of give it a little flair, right? So now I have 6 right there, 6 stalks, and that's looking good. They're tight. They're all fine. Try to get things close on the base. You want your things close together so you don't have too much wire wrapping around. So now I can put aside my ritter, which I do for small quantities, and we can move on into the main bulk of things. And I will be also moving on into a pause scenario. So here we go. So what's our first one? So that one we did 6 beads, and I did 6 of them. And so now I was looking at 9/16, but I might amend that. This is a fluid thing, so let's see. Hopefully I'll write it down so I don't forget. So let's see what 9/16 looks like. Okay, so 9/16 is 1/16, which is exactly what I just put on here. That's crazy land. Literally 9/16. I could act like I, planned that. I mean, I kind of did, but it was mostly luck. So 9/16 on this one is going to be 9 beads, because these, again, are pretty consistent bead sizes, about 1/16 of an inch, which is nice when it's always that size. Now, of course, not every 11 is 1/16, but I find that like a lot of Tohos, those are pretty evenly spaced, and I'm okay with that length. That's good. So now we have a 9 bead situation, and so I'm going to move up by 3 beads every step up. So we're going to do 8 total stalks, or whatever you want to call them. I used to call them stalks, of 9 beads each. And then we'll move up to a 12 bead scenario. So I'm going to get those done for you. So let's get that first one done. Get everything there. Get that top bead there, right? Have that one there. Has anyone ever done, I've done this before, where I forgot to pull the top bead out, and then you pull it through and you just keep pulling, and it just pulls right out the other end, and all the beads pop off. It's a little shocking when it doesn't stop, because if there's no stopper bead, right? Maybe I'm the only one I'm sure I'm not the only one that's been that careless, shall we say. Let's be nice. And so you pull it at this point, and there's nothing to stop it, so you just keep pulling, and it just keeps going right on. The beads just fly everywhere. I wish I could say that was a rookie maneuver, but I still do. I did one, I think, a couple days ago where I popped it out the other side. I was like, what? Okay. Anyhow, so we want to do, again, 8 of these, total of 9 beads each. I'm going to pause and come back to you when I have those ready to present. Okay, so now I have my 8 with 9 beads each done. So I love this color. It looks kind of like, I don't know, like popcorn or something to me. I mean, not popcorn, but like corn kernels. That's the word, not actually popcorn. So I'm going to I'm going to make 10 with 12 beads each. The goal was to make it about 3/4 of an inch long. So that would be about 12 beads. But you can do it by bead count too, whichever is easiest, right? So here's 5, 10, and then 12. Okay, so then I'm going to do 10 of these. And we're getting definitely faster with this. For sure. Let's see. Get that 28 working for you. With these bigger holes, it's a lot easier. Just going to yank it down to the bottom here. Stop. Go over that way. That's a regular wooden spinner from Amazon that I got ages ago. And I had really good luck I got 3 or 4 of these, just, not even expensive ones. But they're kind of hit or miss. And then I went to buy another one, and it was horrible. I couldn't even conceive of how it's almost like you had to make it that bad on purpose, didn't spin. It was make sound. It was so stiff. There was nothing I could do to get it rolling. I couldn't put anything to lubricate it. Nothing worked. It was just bad. And it was the same exact, in theory, process, place I bought it from. When I went to buy it, it said last purchased and all that. So it was the exact same one I had gotten for the other 3. But sure did not seem like it. But these, they've been going forever. They spin. They were a good luck that I found those. Let me tell you. Good spinners I know some people are telling me how they make these things without spinners. I can't even imagine. I just don't have the dexterity for that, for one thing. Okay, so I'm going to make 10 of these guys. So 10 stalks of 12 beads. Now, even if your beads aren't exactly uniform, that's actually not bad, because we want, again, that variation. And it doesn't have to be even if they're maybe shorter and 12 beads isn't quite, then maybe round up, but still then go up, pick an increment and go up each time that amount. So if you have skinnier beads, which happens, I know there's a lot of check beads I get are they're lower profile. And so, instead maybe do like 14 beads and go up 4 beads every jump. It's okay. It's free form, or go by the measurements again. The 8 beads were supposed to be 9/16. The 12 beads are supposed to be 3/4. So you can go by that measurement. You're going to be okay no matter what. Let's put it that way. It's hard to mess these up. We just want to make sure we have the appropriate amount to get this fluffiness to it. It's more about the amount of stalks there are as opposed to like their length and stuff. So if you're just around that, that's fine. It's going to look great. And again, we're going for that sort of, I'll be honest, that inside, that's sort of the wow factor moment that people look at. I mean, they like the petals too with them for sure. But I get a lot of commentary on the centers all the time. People always like to look at the centers. So we're going to make that sort of a nice fluffy one. We're not going to skimp on that. I see sometimes, and I get it, but you see sometimes where there's like maybe less in there, and we want that really super fluffiness to it. Okay. And again, the issue with choosing, cutting off that much wire is that you also have the tangle factor going on if you're not careful. I need to untangle my system of keeping wires is not a good one, man. I need to go through them and untangle. Right now, it's every few months, you just got to do it, right? But yeah, I need a better system. Right now, they're a mess. I've outgrown the current system. That's the one problem. Okay, so I'm going to finish these up. I was talking while I was counting for you guys. And then we'll move on to the next segment. And now we have our next segment done. That was 10. Oh, goodness gracious. I almost thought I wrote 16. It is, in fact, 10. 10 of 12 beads. So now we're going to do our 4th unit, which is going to be 12 with 15 beads. So 7/8 of an inch, but better to do the bead count. So I'm going to do 12 stalks of 15 beads. And what a joy it is to be using 28 wire on an 11 bead. Let me tell you. Live and learn. I've actually realized I use this peach cobbler all the time for centers, but I don't think I've ever used it in this way. Like as stalks, I normally use it with the twist, or as like a beehive or whatever that's called. I don't know. The little like button looking thing in the middle. I don't know if I've ever actually made fringe out of it. I must have, but I can't think of what, because it's actually kind of a thicker bead, and I like the fringe to look a little thinner. But I'm digging it right now. So again, we're always kind of pulling this thing, kind of keeping that bottom tight. And I did cut off a bit of wire, so I should be able to do it all in one stretch, and you can do that. I should have kept track. I did not do that to see how much I could do instead of just doing a whole bunch and hoping for the best. So I could tell you like a number. But again, worst case scenario, you can always aim for it. And then if, sorry, I got out of the picture again. And then if you need it to do another segment, you do another segment. So be it. Okay, so let's get that guy in there. Oh, I'm doing this one as if, you watched the first 2 videos, but you might not have if you were planning to do 11's. So, did not think about that. You missed the comedy of errors that was me and the wire trying to deal with 15 beads. Okay, so always just pulling that, keep that like at a 90-degree angle with your original one down there, just to get a tight pull, and then get it all the way down. And then at the very last bit, when there's still just a little bit left there, do a nice little yank to get it tight, and we want these to be a little bit wonky and weird. We want them to look tendrily. Oh, I just cut. See, now look at that. I was getting distracted, so I did a 15 again. That's not a big deal. That's going to be totally fine. So if something like that happens and you go back and do a 15, all of a sudden, who cares? I guess I did a 12, sorry. That's interesting. Yeah, I went back to 12. How funny is that? I just wasn't thinking. I was still like automatically doing 12s. And again, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's going to look fine when it's in there. You probably won't even notice it. I mean, you won't. Okay, so now we go back to 15s. Let's make sure that that really is. Yep, that's a 15. There we go. And that's totally okay. Okay, I'm trying to get this wire under control. It's very stubborn wire. It's very stiff wire. You know, not the softest 28 that I've used before. And I somehow managed to wrap it right around. Come on up there. Let's not do that. I'm trying to go fast. I could just pause it. Okay, so again, I'm tightening it right down here, right? Just keeping it tight. And then pull to the end, get to the little bit of the end, and then do a good little yank right there at the bottom to get that little seam on top as small as possible. And I guarantee you're not even going to notice that there was that 15 in there. And I might still just, I can count that as one of my thing and still count that towards the 12 that I'm going to be doing, because it's more about the bulk factor, so not the length. See, I'm still automatically, I was still like, had 12 in my mind. I almost just did another 12. So let's do 15, pull that guy out. So, and then thread this through. Remember to do this again. If you feel like you need some talking through on the fringe, watch the beginning of the 15s part, because I think I talk about it a little bit more. But I'm assuming most of you have done fringe before. I didn't even know it was called fringe until like 2 years after I started beading, or flower beading, French flower beading. Is that a verb? I had all kinds of names for it. Stalks. So basically, of course, what you want to do, which by now it's kind of old news, I should have said at the beginning, is load your number on there. So I'm doing 15, so I'm counting out 15, keep counting out 14. That's funny. And then grab them like this so that they're all kind of just resting on your finger. Let one slide to the front. And then stitch it on through like you're just sewing it up. Go right in there. And then sometimes, depending on how you pull it through or how stiff the wire is, the front, the end of it that you're putting through might get a little bit bent. And then just make sure you're aware of that, because it does make it take longer. And then just chop off that little bit. Get it all in there. And then pull through till you have about like 3 inches there. And then this is how I mean, you can do it however you want to, but then I'm pulling it with my left hand over here while shimming it like that with my right hand to get it all tight down at the bottom, pulling it like, then when I have the 90-degree angle, holding that with my thumb, getting down to the end, and then quick yank. Then just make sure you come back around so you're already not tangled. There we go. Sometimes this gets annoying, so you can try to bend it so it doesn't hit you so much, but that's wishful thinking. Okay, so I have 5 done right now, and I'm going to finish up the rest. Now we've got 12 of 15 beads, so it's getting fluffier, that's for sure. This is what we got going on here. I realize that this looks more yellow in this light. It's actually a very yellow orange. It's a very warm color. I love this color. It's a very buttery, orangey yellow. So very last thing we need to do now is a 1 inch. So 18 beads and 16 of those. So we're going for 18 beads and have 16 per of those each. Sorry, 18 beads per stalk and 16 stalks. So 5. So that is 15 plus 3 more. There we go. So this is going to be our longest stalk, and so we're going to pop that bottom one out, or that top one, depending on which way you're looking at it. And sorry, I pulled out of frame again because this wire is going crazy lands. Okay, let's get these loaded up. And before I pull this, I got to deal with this situation over here. So you got a little loopy thing, so pull that backwards so that we don't kink it up too much. And see, I keep doing that on this one. Look at that. Did it again. So before it gets too tight, push it and pull it so it comes out. And then let's do our thing where we're ratcheting. It's like a ratchet thing, right? Where you ratchet like that. Ratchet it in. And we're going to do, again, 16 of these. 16 of approximately an inch. This is actually a little over an inch now. And I'm doing 18 beads of them. Okie dokie. So that should make sense. That would be 1 1/8 of an inch. But that's what I want on this one. So it's more like 1 1/8 of an inch. 18 beads. 5, 10, 15. Why do I keep picking up 15? I know it's shorter than 18. Okay. And there we go. 18. Oh my God, look how, from pulling that wire, see that gray thing? Do you ever get that when you ratchet the wire for a while? You get like gray lines from like the tarnish and the oxidation on it just coming off on you. It's kind of gross. My hands start to smell like metal from the way I handle the wire sometimes. It's pretty intense. Like that bare copper wire, oh my gosh, my hands smell like pennies. But even just this kind of wire, just doing this, like this motion so much, and you just get these like gray lines on there. Luckily they wash right off, but the smell can kind of stay. I mean, it's not like gross or anything per se, but it's kind of weird because it's definitely like it's this weird metallic smell, right? So, okay, I am going to finish these up and I'll be back in a second. So this is our last bit, 16 of these guys, and then we're good to go. So I'm on the very last stalk fringe for this guy. Thought we would do it together. Let's see what we got. I was doing much better at the counting though. 11, 14, 2 more. There we go. Better at getting them loaded. I mean, counting. Sorry, I was trying to say things while I was counting. Not my skill. You try it. Maybe you could do it better. That's a tough one. Like count while actually saying a sentence. Anyhow, so there we go. There's our last one. We are officially done with the 11 bead. Are we officially done? Come on now. Oh, look, it got tangled. It's like, no, we're doing so well. But now let's just show them that it's going to get tingly. There we go. Okay, last one. Pull that tight. Make that lock in there. And there we go. And I bent one down to keep track of the counting again. Okay, so there we go. This is a long one. So the next step, like I said, is actually we're going to assemble. We're going to do kind of a pre-assembly. Put the petals together and then get it together with the center. And then we will work on the little like leaf fringe situation on the bottom. It's not really, I should not use the word fringe at this stage. The sort of leaf skirt at the bottom in lieu of a calyx. So there we go. Off we go. And now you have your center ready to roll. Good work, everyone. And I'll see you next time for a little bit of assembly.